permeated with barbecue websites under the control of tyrannical administrators. There was one man, a one-man army. He broke all the rules. He allowed his members to speak out, give their opinions, and make the website what it is today. Get ready for Greg Rempe and the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
Live from Cleveland, Ohio, it's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
Good evening. It's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Radio. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you aboard tonight. Got a great show lined up. If you don't need any setup as far as what the show will be concerning tonight, you already know what you want to talk about. Let me go ahead and give you your contact info so you can jump in as you see fit. Phone number 216-220-0966, or you can email me at bbqcentralradio@gmail.com. Once again, 216-220-0966, or bbqcentralradio@gmail.com. Here's how the show will lay out tonight. First segment is wide open, so I'll be covering a number of topics, wide-ranging. Second segment, we'll have an interview with a guy who actually has a podcast of his own called Mind of Men. Actually, it's two guys that do it. It's a show about men, by men, and for men. His name is Jim, and I've actually been guest spotting on his particular podcast for... I think I've done it 3 times over the past few months, and obviously we've been talking about barbecue and grilling, and I figured it would be nice to kind of return the favor and have him on. He's a backyard barbecuer, not really a competition guy, but I thought it would be nice to get into the head of somebody that found barbecue, likes it, and see how he's progressed as far as cookers, what he cooks on now, what he thinks is important for people, because I know we have a listening audience base here on BBS Talk Radio that aren't necessarily into barbecue or aren't that knowledgeable about barbecue, so it would be good to go ahead and get his thoughts about what he thinks is important as far as, you know, the novice to the intermediate is concerned. Third segment, of course, the return of Know Your Cue, where the live listening audience will have a chance to answer a trivia question, which I create during the course of the show, for your chance to win a 3-pack of D-Dog's barbecue rub. And, of course, that's you can find out more information about that at D-Dog's website at ddogsbbq.com. So make sure you're listening live all show, and then call in at the end of the third segment for your chance to win that rub. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get off the board a little bit here as far as the first topic that I'll be covering tonight. A lot of being made of the horse racing that has gone on the last few weeks, namely Big Brown. Now winning 2 of 3 legs of the Triple Crown, and really a heavily weighted favorite to go ahead and finally, after a drought of 30 years, to potentially bring home a new Triple Crown winner. That has not been done in, again, 30, it's either 30 or 33 years. I believe it's 30 years, Secretariat. Big jet flying over top here in Cleveland, Ohio. Jeez Louise. So, needless to say, I'm 33 years old, so I was 3 the last time it happened, and it's very difficult to do. Let's break down Big Brown. Big brown horse, given the name. Kentucky Derby pulling away. That is the second longest leg of the Triple Crown. And then the race last week, that is actually, I believe, a 16th of a mile shorter than the Kentucky Derby, but a half mile or a 16th of a mile shorter than the Belmont, which will be taking place in 3 weeks, which is a mile and a half. he really didn't have any competition last week. Got pinned to the rail on the inside as they started out. Got a little dirt kicked in his face. Handled that very well. Worked his way on the outside halfway through the first turn, and then pretty much was in a stalking position all the way through. If you notice, if you watch the race, if you're a horse racing fan, as I am, you would know that jockey Kent Desormeaux had him under a hard hold pretty much throughout the race. And only at the top of the stretch, heading home, did he really let him out to full stride. He quickly broke away 8 lengths and then spent the rest of the race reeling him back in across the finish line. And really, head and shoulders above that crowd, nobody really showed up for him to race. He was an overwhelming favorite. I think the next closest horse in odds to winning or favored to win was like 8 or 9 to 1. So as far as the degenerate gambling is concerned, very good to take 5 overall or do the wheel bet, or was he 5 to 7 horse? Nevertheless, it would have been good to take Big Brown overall or bet the wheel with Big Brown, and I believe that with a $2 bet came up like $36, so not too bad. So my prediction, my hopeful prediction, is that he will complete the third leg and be the next Triple Crown winner, eliminating the drought that's taken place over the last 30 years. So you can call in on that if you're a degenerate gambler like myself. Correction I wanted to make last week when I was talking to Leanne Whippen. Had her on last week. If you missed that interview, that was a great interview. She talked about the throwdown that she had with Bobby Flay. It was a pulled pork throwdown that he showed up in Virginia and challenged her to pulled pork competition. You can circle back around to the Barbecue Central bio page on bbstalkradio.com. Click on the Barbecue Central show, and there is an archive of every single show that I have done so far. And that will be the first one listed, as that is the most recent one that has been archived. She has a lot of great information, very charismatic, and a great interview. So look forward to having her on in the future to talk about various barbecue topics. But certainly interesting to get an idea of how it actually happens and get an idea of what actually happens aside from what we just see on a TV basis. You see 30 minutes of a finished product, but she said it actually took 2 12-hour days to actually get that half-hour footage. So always interesting to see how much time is put in to get a half-hour product, and it's usually quite a lot. So what can I tell you? But circle back around. What I wanted to correct myself on or clarify is in the first segment I was talking to her about how we've been having kind of this ongoing discussion about barbecue competitions and how expensive they are with the entry fees and the meat costs, and now with the fuel prices continually going up, costing more and more. People are relooking at what competitions are going to be taking place in, and so on and so forth. One of the ways that I was kind of brainstorming with a bunch of other people over the last number of weeks is real traditional barbecue competitions don't let you vend your leftovers. And when I asked Leanne about it, she thought that it wouldn't be necessarily it wouldn't necessarily work because people wouldn't be going out of their way to make extra in order to vend. So I guess what I wanted to clear up was the fact that I wasn't looking, or I wasn't insinuating or intimating that people would go out of their way to buy more products to cook. But the competitions that I have been to and that I have seen, just with 1 or 2 people cooking as a team, there's a decent amount of stuff left over. So instead of just packing up whatever you wanted to take and throwing out the rest in order to make up some money, maybe not necessarily covering all of the costs that you had invested to go to this particular competition. You mean there's got to be a couple racks of ribs left over. There's got to be enough for maybe 5 or 10 sandwiches for the pulled pork, maybe the same amount for brisket. Especially if you're cooking whole packers, there's got to be quite a bit left over. And, if I'm incorrect on that as far as, what could be left, but, if you're looking at potentially getting, if you're selling it $5 a pop for sandwiches, maybe you could see $100 back and at least help you with, fuel for the way back, or at least getting some kind of money back. It's just my thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off base here. I don't compete. So I don't know. I don't really necessarily know, but that's just my 2 cents. So jump in on that as well if you feel the need. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that people that show up on the Barbecue Central show to be interviewed or that call in as guests, what have not, the karma is really starting to take hold, and that is something that I am extremely excited about. And you may be asking yourself, what are you talking about, karma? Well, I'm talking about when people show up on the Barbecue Central show, inevitably, and I can't explain why, but all I know is it never doesn't happen, is that when you show up on the Barbecue Central show, good things happen. Let's take some points of example. For instance, I interviewed Leanne Whippen of Woodchicks Barbecue last Tuesday about the throwdown that she had with Bobby Flay. That weekend, that Friday, Saturday, there was a Virginia State Championship, and while she did not win Grand Championship, she won Reserve Grand Champion and had a few individual segment calls as well. Karma. Showed up on the show on Tuesday. Saturday, she's getting calls and winning money in competitions and getting titles. Secondly, guy by the name of Bill Small, a.k.a. Bill the Grill Guy, showed up a couple weeks ago talking about the barbecue event that he's putting together in Louisa, Virginia. Next weekend, he competed in a barbecue competition and got his first call in pork this year. Karma. Good things happening to people that show up on the Barbecue Central. I can go even further. Ray Lampe shows up on a number of different podcasts that I had done prior to the Barbecue Central show here on Internet Radio. And when I had him on the Barbecue Central show for the first time here at BBS Talk Radio, he talked about how he had been made executive chef of Justin Timberlake's restaurant, Southern Hospitality in New York City. It's karma. It's good things happening to good people that come on the Barbecue Central show. I can't explain it. I can't deny it. All I know is it never doesn't work, and it always happens, and it's never bad. So there you go. Just keep that in mind if I ask you to come on the show, especially if you want to continue to do good. Have good luck happen to you. Karma. Get the karma. If you're going to be competing, call up. Ask for the karma. You'll get it. You'll see. You'll reap the benefits, reap the rewards. Lastly, before I head out, I would just like to say that I had gone through my last bag of original charcoal from the original, or my lump briquettes from the original charcoal company, and had to buy Kingsford for the last couple smokes. Let me tell you, in my honest opinion, and I'm not going to get too technical with this, but Kingsford truly sucks. It stinks. I wish I could put into words how much I dislike using Kingsford now, having used a much superior product. And the fact that Kingsford is so widely available and so widely mass forced down our throats to use as charcoal sickens me. And I can't discount the fact that people have won a number of championships with it, but there are better products out there. And I pretty much am going to refuse to use it. I will find other ways to fire my charcoal-based cookers. But the amount of ash that it produces and the smell on startup, I dislike it. I dislike it with a passion. And quite frankly, if I could do away with Kingsford altogether, not to mention their Matchlight product, I would do it in a heartbeat. But I can't, so I won't. I'm going to get out right now. When we come back, we'll have an interview with Jim from the Mind of Men podcast. Stand by. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
Hey, smell my pits. Yeah, come on, smell my pits. You know why they smell so good? Because I use D-Dog's barbecue rubs in my barbecue pits. D-Dog's award-winning championship rubs are available online at ddogsbbq.com. Try the original, the apple, or the maple. But there's more. D-Dog's now has sauces. D-Dog's Barbecue is now proud to offer cranberry chipotle sauce, D-Dog's chicken wing sauce, and steak sauce too. And you can get them online at ddogsbbq.com. Keep checking back because D-Dogs is always bringing in new products with new sauces and new rubs coming soon. D-Dogs Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, championship award-winning. Shop online at ddogsbbq.com. That's ddogsbbq.com.
The Big Green Egg is the most unique barbecue and grilling product on the market, with its unmatched capabilities and flexibility that surpass all other conventional cookers combined. It's a smoker, a grill, and an oven. You can literally cook any food on it year-round, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. The Big Green Egg lights fast, and it's ready to cook on within 10 minutes, and no need for that yucky lighter fluid. The ceramic walls retain heat with an accurate temperature control, so there are no hot spots. And since the top is down while you're cooking, there are no grease flare-ups. Its handsome, unique, and decorative design produces the juiciest and most succulent food you'll ever taste. And don't forget about the world-class customer service and the lifetime warranty that goes along with every unit. You can find out more about the Big Green Egg by visiting their website at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com. The Big Green Egg, the most versatile and unique barbecue and grilling product on the market.
Barbecue has never been easier with the Barbecue Guru. The Barbecue Guru is a temperature control and monitor for all pits, charcoal, wood, electric, your pit. It easily attaches to any smoker or pit and gives you simple, trouble-free control of your temperatures, so you can make championship quality barbecue every time and all the time. And it's location-free. Take it anywhere. This amazing breakthrough in barbecue technology is a microprocessor-controlled draft system that uses temperature monitors and a small fan to keep your temperatures constant. The stainless steel Guru Pit Minder gives you a choice of controls from 90 to 370 degrees. So cold smoking, pepper drying, making cheese or jerky, or fabulous briskets and ribs is nothing short of effortless. The Procom 4 lets you monitor your pit from up to 600 feet away. And there's more. Check out the full line of products and accessories for the future of barbecue with new items on the way. Visit thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
This is Jim.
And this is Mike, and you're listening to Greg on the Barbecue Central Show, the place for all things important to the world of barbecue.
When you're ready for even more guy stuff, check out the Mind of Men podcast for news and views on politics, tech, sports, tools, home repair, cigars, drinks, barbecue, and more.
You can find us on iTunes or at mindofmen.com.
Get on the phone and in the smoke. 216-220-0966. BBS Talk Radio.
It's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio. Glad to have you aboard. 9:17 here on the East Coast. Make your time zone adjustments as necessary. As promised, joining me now is Jim from the Mind of Men podcast. We'll be talking to him about what it's like to be a backyard barbecuer. So, Jim, welcome into the show.
Thanks, Greg.
Jim, why don't you go ahead and give us a little background about how the Mind of Men podcast actually came about, and then we'll talk about the barbecue stuff.
Well, sure, thanks. A couple of years ago, a buddy of mine, Mike, and we've been college friends from, way back in the college, I guess. We were sitting on my back deck, smoking cigars, having a nice scotch, and got to talking about how it might be interesting if we took some of the conversations that we had and put them out there and, see if there were other guys and, other people who are interested in what guys think to want to listen in. So over the last couple of years, and we're actually coming up on our second-year anniversary in July, we've sort of evolved the show, and it's really a fairly standard format. We have an opening segment where we talk about news stories, and that's tech news, that's sports news, that's pretty much we cover the gamut of things that would be of interest to guys. Then we have a main segment, which is pretty much something that we talk about. Sometimes it's barbecue, sometimes it's sports, sometimes it's tech. It just sort of rotates all over the place. And then we wrap up with a cigar and libation combination for the last segment, and it's a new cigar and a new drink. And since I'm a big Scotch and a bourbon fan, we go through an awful lot of Scotch and bourbon choices during the podcast.
Are you drinking while you're doing the show?
Let me put it this way. I will leave it up to the listeners to determine that. There were definitely some shows that I think it would be pretty obvious that at least one of us was had a couple before we got on.
How did you get bit by the barbecue bug?
Well, I've been doing it for a long time. I grew up in Texas, and so I think you kind of and I'm sort of a transplanted Texan up here in Yankeeville, up in Massachusetts, and I think it's kind of, when you mention that you're from Texas, everybody sort of expects that you know how to barbecue.
Right.
So, I figured, number one, I like doing it. And number two, why fight the stereotype? You might as well just run with it. So I've been barbecuing probably for about 4 or 5 years now. I've been grilling for a lot longer. And of course, many years ago, I didn't know the difference. And I was schooled in it. And unfortunately, I came up through the school of hard knocks. I probably did a lot of the things that you tell people not to do. I bought the cheap smokers. I, did everything you could possibly do wrong. And, definitely was turned off from time to time about smoking everything. I went and I got the Home Depot special $50 R2D2 dome smoker and had a charcoal version. And then I decided that the electric one was better because at least I could control the temperature. Of course, back then I didn't know anything about, getting something that has proper vents and draft control and all that other stuff. So, it really did kind of turn me off on barbecue for a while until finally I, decided to take another crack at it.
We've been actually, as I was talking about in the lead open, that I had been on your show 3 times here talking about various barbecue things. But you're, more of a backyard guy. Typically on interview segments, I'll have, somebody that is, a well-known competition person or maybe a pit manufacturer, accessory maker, barbecue stuff. But there's I would say, a good base of listeners here at BBS Talk Radio that are probably less knowledgeable than us as far as the barbecue aspects is concerned. So as somebody that is, fairly new to it as yourself, what do you think are the important parts of getting into barbecue? What should you take into account?
Well, something that you've mentioned over and over again, and I can't agree more, is if you're going to spend, $150, a couple $100 or so to get into it, go ahead and spend a little extra and do it right the first time. Don't cheap out. That was my biggest lesson. My first smoker, as I said, was the Home Depot special. My second smoker was one of these Barbachef offset smokers you can get from Barbecues Galore, which was certainly better than the cheap offsets that you can get at the home centers, but not by much. And I used to complain I couldn't keep temperature control worth a darn in the thing. It was either going high or it was going low. It really was one of these things that until I moved up and got a Big Green Egg, I was I had a much better chance, and it was a lot easier for me to keep the temperature under control. And I know that you've got the Weber Smoky Mountain, and that's certainly something I'm contemplating for our beach house because I don't feel like dragging all my smokers down. You certainly don't have to go all the way up and get a ridiculously expensive smoker. I ultimately ended up doing that, but it's certainly, you don't need that to be able to do good smoking. I really think if somebody's just starting out, there's nothing wrong with having a decent charcoal or gas grill and doing some offset cooking or, some indirect cooking. Take the cheap thing out, throw a smoker packet in there. At least it will give you kind of some level of understanding of what smoking's like, and then you can kind of graduate up without, having a disastrous experience.
What kind of smokers do you have currently in your backyard?
Well, I still have the Barbachef rotting in my backyard, so I'm probably going to throw that on Craigslist and see if I can dump that on somebody else who might think that's cool. I've got the Big Green Egg, so I've got a medium-sized Big Green Egg, and I've got a Fast Eddie Cook Shack FEC 100, and that's my baby. I got to say, my entire perception of smoking changed when I bought that box. It is the most amazing piece of hardware that I've ever come across. And I got to be honest, I'd not even heard of that thing 3 months ago. Right around Christmas time, I was down in Houston visiting my parents, and I actually went out and visited a couple of the pit manufacturers and talked to some of them down there. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pits and Spits being one of them, a couple other ones I stopped in. And I was all set to go out and get myself an offset smoker. And then I jumped up on the barbecue forums and started asking questions. And the more I read and the more I talked to people, the more I started taking a look at those pellet smokers. And, I took a look at the Traegers, and, those are good smokers, but I figured, you know what? I might as well go ahead and go all the way, get the top of the line, get the Cadillac for the backyard barbecuer, and get this FEC 100. I mean, it's got more square footage than I could ever use for cooking, and it's just so easy to use that it just makes, it allows me to focus on rubs and sauces and things and not worry so much about heat control.
Now, to be fair, also, the FEC 100 is winning a lot of awards and barbecue championships on the circuit itself. So it's not, strictly regulated to a guy like yourself that's in the backyard. But if you're looking for a good competition cooker, it's certainly something that has proven itself over and over here over the last few years.
Well, and also I would never consider something that's got a $3,000 price tag to be strictly a backyard toy. I mean, that's something that's built for serious competition chefs and, people like myself who decide that they're going to go really high end.
Now, why did you choose pellet? I mean, like you said, you have a number of other grills of various fuel source burning, but ultimately, you went up to a pellet smoker. Why did you choose pellet grill versus the traditional offset or something charcoal driven like the Spice Wine or the Backwood smokers?
Well, I think that it probably grew out of my experience dealing with lousy smokers, and my problem is that I've had so many bad smokers, and the Big Green Egg accepted, of course, but I've had so many bad smokers that I just don't have much luck controlling the heat on them. They either spike up or they drop down, and I'm trying to add charcoal to them and things, or wood or whatever else. That when I came across something that basically said, put the pellets in, program the temperature, and leave it the heck alone. That was just music to my ears. Barbecue is not my primary job. I've got 2 kids. I'm in graduate school. I've got a lot of stuff going on, and the idea of say staying up for 12 or 14 hours to smoke a brisket to keep adding fuel to the fire like you would with a stick burner is just not something that really excites me. And the ability just to that first time that I plugged in the Fast Eddy and fired it up and had it do an overnight cook and got up the next morning and had my brisket done. I mean, it was sold. I mean, my wife, no arguments at all about how much I spent on this thing when she started seeing the things this thing was turning out.
Right. Now, do you have any aspirations of competing at some point?
Well, I tell the IRS that at least. So I fully intend to write this smoker off. So I think at some point I probably will have to do some level of competing, and we might do something in conjunction with the podcast, sort of as a promotional type of thing. I have no illusions of the fact that I'm ever going to, be a grand champion of anything, simply because, my life is such that I don't have the weeks and the hours and the days and everything that it would take to really perfect the right rub recipe, the right techniques and things like that. I can probably get to the point where I can do something passable and, maybe occasionally pick up, a third or a fourth place in some category. But, if I can get to that point, I'm pretty much happy with it. So the honest to God truth is I probably will, but I'm going to have to buy something that I can actually tow this cooker in first, because I don't have a vehicle right now I can stick it in.
What would you tell the person out there listening who's the novice as far as what your favorite piece of meat is to barbecue and what they would want to consider potentially barbecuing the first time out?
Well, you see, those are 2 different things.
Yes.
Because my favorite piece of meat to barbecue, and again, I hate to say it, I'm sort of showing my Texas roots here, is brisket. I think that is, for 2 reasons. Number one, I find it to be my favorite meat, period. I love brisket. And it also is really the true test of the barbecuer. If you can turn out a good piece of brisket consistently, then you've hit where you need to be, so to speak. As far as the first piece, the first thing to smoke, I think the first 2 things I smoked in the Fast Eddy is I got a pork shoulder and I smoked that, and that's real easy if you want to make pulled pork. The only problem is that even a 6 to 8 pound pork shoulder is going to make a lot more pork than you're going to be able to eat in any reasonable amount of time, even with a sizable family. So. Right. That's the only thing, is you want to make sure you got some friends or a big freezer or something if you're going to do pulled pork. And then the other thing I cooked in it was a chicken. And I got to say, it does an amazing job for chicken. I mean, chicken, even if you have a cheap smoker, and this is going back to the Home Depot special, you can turn out a heck of a good chicken in pretty much any kind of smoker, because the chicken is just not as sensitive to heat and temperature variations as some of the other cuts of meat are.
Right. What's coming up on the Mind of Men next show?
Well, amusingly enough, I think we're going to take a look at cholesterol. We've actually had a show on that. Yeah, we actually had a couple of listeners write in, and because we do, what we tend to do is when we go into our in-depth topic, we do a fair amount of research on it and really try to give a good perspective. It's not just our opinion on something. We've got facts and figures and things like that to back it up, and so we've had some requests about that because Mike in particular has talked about some of his battles with cholesterol and things along those lines, and so we figured it might make sense to go ahead and take a look at that. So that's probably going to be the next show, assuming I get the research done in time. And I'm not sure what Mike's got for the show after that, but what we're definitely doing is a few topics we've got coming up is we're going to be taking a look at golf. We're going to be looking at actually boat ownership. My uncle has been a boat owner for probably 50 years, and so and he bought one when he was very young, actually even before he was married. So figure we're going to have a conversation with him about some of the things to think about with boats. We'll probably look at some real estate topics. We're just kind of figuring, sort of working as we go along. We did one recently on horse racing, so assuming that the Triple Stakes goes the way that everyone's hoping it's going to go, we may talk a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm. Casino gambling. There's just a bunch of stuff that we've kind of ideas that we're sort of kicking around.
And where can people go to find out about the Mind of Men?
Well, it's real easy. It's www.mindofmen.com, and it's all one word.
Simple enough. Jim from themindofmen.com. Appreciate you taking time out to talk to me about how you got into barbecue and your cookers and your thoughts about how or what people should consider about getting into barbecue. And we'll keep a lookout for the Mind of Men podcast. Thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Greg.
Take care. Jim from the Mind of Men, if you need him. Again, the website for his podcast is www.mindofmen.com. And again, I have been on there 3 times as a guest subject speaker about barbecue. But I have listened to a number of other shows, and they run typically, 50 minutes or so on the average. But a lot of good information. Jim and Mike are very smart guys. So go ahead and check out their podcast again. All stuff about guys, for guys, by guys. Mindofmen.com. When we come back, the game show sweeping the nation. Know your cue. Stand by.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
The Big Green Egg is the most unique barbecue and grilling product on the market, with its unmatched capabilities and flexibility that surpass all other conventional cookers combined. It's a smoker, a grill, and an oven. You can literally cook any food on it year-round, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. The Big Green Egg lights fast, and it's ready to cook on within 10 minutes, and no need for that yucky lighter fluid. The ceramic walls retain heat with an accurate temperature control, so there are no hot spots. And since the top is down while you're cooking, there are no grease flare-ups. Its handsome, unique, and decorative design produces the juiciest and most succulent food you'll ever taste. And don't forget about the world-class customer service and the lifetime warranty that goes along with every unit. You can find out more about the Big Green Egg by visiting their website at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com. The Big Green Egg, the most versatile and unique barbecue and grilling product on the market.
Hey, smell my pits. Yeah, come on, smell my pits. You know why they smell so good? Because I use D-Dog's barbecue rubs in my barbecue pits. D-Dog's award-winning championship rubs are available online at ddogsbbq.com. Try the original, the apple, or the maple. But there's more. D-Dog's now has sauces. D-Dog's Barbecue is now proud to offer cranberry chipotle sauce, D-Dog's chicken wing sauce, and steak sauce too. And you can get them online at ddogsbbq.com. Keep checking back because D-Dogs is always bringing in new products with new sauces and new rubs coming soon. D-Dogs Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, championship award-winning. Shop online at ddogsbbq.com. That's ddogsbbq.com. The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Hi, this is Scott Greenya from Fairfax, Vermont, also known as Scotty BQ, and you're listening to The Barbecue Central Show.
Now, back to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
It's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio. Happy to have you aboard. Thanks again to Jim from the Mind of Men podcast. Once again, their website is mindofmen.com. A podcast about men, for men, by men. Scotch, bourbon, two of my favorite things. 216-220-0966 or bbqcentralradio@gmail.com. If you are interested to comment on anything that we have covered so far, horse racing, the fact that Kingsford charcoal sucks, the fact that karma is wreaking havoc in a good way about people that show up on the Barbecue Central show, allowing them to win awards and good things are happening in their lives in general. So if you need karma, go ahead and call in. Or if you would like to comment about Jim and what he thought was important for beginning barbecuers, in his opinion, because we all know barbecue is all about opinion, and you would think that potentially you could cover the entire gamut of barbecue and grilling inside of 5 hours, and that would be it. But the fact of the matter is that given the limited potential topic base that barbecue has to offer, you can argue about it until you're blue in the face. Barbecue is like politics. Barbecue is like anything that seems simple enough up front, but when you actually start to talk about it, you can find that you will be struggling over the most minuscule and minute issues and will dig your heels in and not relent when it comes to putting your thoughts and views across. And that's why we do the show. That's why we have the show, to educate and also to give a forum to people that want to fist fight, because fist fighting is very cool. And now we will be playing the game that's sweeping the nation, Know Your Cue. And here is the question for the night. Remember, tonight you'll be having to listen live. If you did not listen to the first two segments, chances of you winning tonight, slim to none. But here's the question. When I was interviewing Jim from the Mind of Men podcast, I asked him what his favorite meat to barbecue was, and then he gave me the answer, which was a one-word answer. If you were paying attention, he gave you his favorite meat to barbecue, and then he also recommended to newbie, intermediate, beginner barbecuers potential meats that they should try. But I did ask him in particular what his favorite meat to barbecue was, and he did answer. I wrote it down correctly. I re-listened through the break just a few minutes ago, so I will not be incorrect if I buzz somebody out. That number again is 216-220-0966 for a 3-pack of D-Dog's barbecue rub. So we'll be looking for the first of many callers. As far as what we're looking at next week, I know that I have been teasing Johnny Trigg. I know I've been teasing Billy Bones and Kevin Bevington of the FBA. I did get an email from Kevin earlier, or it might have been later last week. He had some computer issues. He's been very busy. He's not only president of the Florida Barbecue Association, but he does compete on a fairly regular basis. He's 5-time Team of the Year in the Florida Barbecue Association, so he is very apt to win a lot of the barbecue competitions that he does. So looking like we might have him in next week. We can talk to him about the Florida Barbecue Association, what it's like to be president of that, what he has done since he has taken over the reins as president, what he looks forward to doing in the future. And if time would allow, we can talk to him about some of his competition experience. But I've done podcasts with Kevin before in the past, and it seems that it's almost better to do, or it might be better to do a segment with him about Florida Barbecue Association, and then on the next show do a segment about homebbq.com, which is his competition team. And most recently, he actually developed a line of DVDs to cater to the backyard barbecuer and the backyard griller. So he has DVDs out to show you how to grill, where he does the recipes from start to finish and shows you the end product. And then he also does it for the barbecue side of things as well. So a quick plug to Kevin. You can visit his website at homebbq.com. So we look forward to getting all the people that I have been teasing now, having on the last number of weeks. But quite frankly, the show flies by at a rapid rate, and before I know it, show's over. And then I get busy during the week to fill show, and I never get around to calling the people that I really want to call. So it was very, very coincidental that I was able to snag Leanne Whippen last week, especially after coming off of that win that she had on the Throwdown with Barbecue Bobby Flay. And again, if you have missed shows or you would like to go back, perhaps you're listening for the first time and you want to go back and catch some of the archive shows, very easy to do. Go to bbstalkradio.com, click on the Barbecue Central, or if you click on up at the top shows, click on the Barbecue Central badge, and that'll bring you to the bio page for the Barbecue Central show. And then you can go ahead and listen to all of the archives to your heart's content. You can also, if you're an iPod fan and you want to have the Barbecue Central radio show on your iPod, it is available at iTunes. Go to iTunes and search Barbecue Central show, or Barbecue Central radio show, or you can type my name in under author, Greg Rempe, R-E-M-P-E, and you will see the very initial Barbecue Central show, which is the Barbecue Podcast show, and then the Barbecue Central radio show is heard on BBS Talk Radio. Available on iTunes. All you have to do is download it. It will be sent to your iPod, and then you can listen at your leisure after you listen live, of course. So, again, to win the 3-pack of D-Dog's Barbecue Rub, first you will need to have the answer to the question, what was Jim from the Mind of Men's podcast favorite meat to barbecue? And then you'll need to call 216-220-0966. Very, very simple, very easy, and a very free way to get your hands on some quality rub. Darren has been every other week donating rub to people that will win the fastest growing game in internet history, the Know Your Q game. And again, that number is 216-220-0966. So I would just like to sum up my rant on Kingsford Charcoal and the fact that they put a stranglehold on Home Depot. Do I have real proof of this? Well, not necessarily. But they were offering 2 brands of charcoal. The original charcoal company last year, also Kingsford, and then their Matchlight brand, which is even more hideouser than the regular Kingsford. And for whatever reason, all of a sudden, the original charcoal company was not offered this year. They were not going to be stocked in the Home Depot stores. So it was a good initial rollout for that company to really get a lot of good exposure. They got a lot of fans. It made a lot of buzz over the internet as far as how good the product was, how good the profile was, especially on the hardwood briquette side of things, that was my favorite. I bought 25 or 30 bags and finally depleted my source and then had to return back to the Kingsford over the weekend. And, Kingsford gets up to temperature really fast, but, the burn time isn't nearly as long. It reeks when you start it up because of the chemicals burning off. You have to really make sure that it's heavily ashed over so you don't get any extra ickiness imparted on the food that you're grilling or barbecuing. Heaven forbid that you do an overnight cook with Kingsford charcoal that you actually have to go back into the bag at some point during the cook to refuel, because then you're basically restarting the charcoal burning stinky smell again. And unfortunately, it's going to give you a crappy smell to your meat. And it doesn't decay very well. It keeps kind of like that briquette shape, in essence, choking out your fire because it doesn't just break apart and sift through the bottom charcoal grate and go into the waste holder there. So it ends up choking out your fire. Not to mention the huge amount of ash that charcoal leaves, that Kingsford charcoal leaves behind. I'm in no way a fan. I would feel poorly about taking money from them if they even considered sponsoring any one of my shows, because I don't know if I could possibly have them on paying knowing that I have some large amount of disdain for the product. So that's where I sit on that. And it looks like nobody will be getting their hands on a free 3-pack of D-Dog's barbecue rub. Nevertheless, we'll give him a plug. That's DDOGSBBQ.com. D-Dog's barbecue rub. It's better than ketchup, and it's not only just rub. It is also it's a award-winning rub, but it's also table sauces. It's wing sauce and it's steak sauce, and that's DDOGSBBQ.com. I want to thank Jim from the Mind of Men podcast for joining me tonight, talking about barbecue, his podcast, and so forth. Can't thank any callers. Can't thank any emailers. You know, I do a rant about how karma is. I figured this would be the show that would be an influx of emails and calls asking for the karma to be passed on for this week of upcoming competition, as we now are going to be in the thick of competition barbecue. Even if you're not competing, maybe you have a big family event coming up. You lose out on the karma this week, folks, so pay attention. Go back to the archive and listen so you know that next week, if you want the karma, you got to be in, emailing and calling. Again, we'll look to have Kevin Bevington on next week, potentially Johnny Trigg, maybe even Billy Bones, but we'll see what happens from there. We'll see how my show booking skills develop over the course of the week. Thanks to Barbecue Central crew, my sound engineer, Sam Hassan, in Los Angeles, California. Stay tuned for Broad Topics. Coming up after me, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Laura Joan, Jillian, and Kelly, new host inserted. And don't forget to check out all the programming we have here on BBS Talk Radio. Definitely something for everybody. We'll see you back here next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Barbecue Central Show. This is your program host, Greg Rempe, saying so long, everybody.
Barbecue has never been easier with the Barbecue Guru. The Barbecue Guru is a temperature control and monitor for all pits, charcoal, wood, electric, your pit. It easily attaches to any smoker or pit and gives you simple, trouble-free control of your temperatures so you can make championship quality barbecue every time and all the time. And it's location-free. Take it anywhere. This amazing breakthrough in barbecue technology is a microprocessor-controlled draft system that uses temperature monitors and a small fan to keep your temperatures constant. The stainless steel Guru Pit Minder gives you a choice of controls from 90 to 370 degrees. So cold smoking, pepper drying, making cheese or jerky, or fabulous briskets and ribs is nothing short of effortless. The Procom 4 lets you monitor your pit from up to 600 feet away. And there's more. Check out the full line of products and accessories for the future of barbecue with new items on the way. Visit thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
The Big Green Egg is the most unique barbecue and grilling product on the market, with its unmatched capabilities and flexibility that surpass all other conventional cookers combined. It's a smoker, a grill, and an oven. You can literally cook any food on it year-round, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. The Big Green Egg lights fast, and it's ready to cook on within 10 minutes, and no need for that yucky lighter fluid. The ceramic walls retain heat with an accurate temperature control, so there are no hot spots. And since the top is down while you're cooking, there are no grease flare-ups. Its handsome, unique, and decorative design produces the juiciest and most succulent food you'll ever taste. And don't forget about the world-class customer service and the lifetime warranty that goes along with every unit. Find out more about the Big Green Egg by visiting their website at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com. The Big Green Egg, the most versatile and unique barbecue and grilling product on the market.
Hey, smell my pits. Yeah, come on, smell my pits. You know why they smell so good? Because I use D-Dog's barbecue rubs in my barbecue pits. D-Dog's award-winning championship rubs are available online at DDOGSBBQ.com. Try the original, the apple, or the maple. But there's more. D-Dog's now has sauces. D-Dog's Barbecue is now proud to offer cranberry chipotle sauce, D-Dog's chicken wing sauce, and steak sauce too. And you can get them online at DDOGSBBQ.com. Keep checking back because D-Dogs is always bringing in new products with new sauces and new rubs coming soon. D-Dogs Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, championship award-winning. Shop online at ddogsbbq.com. That's ddogsbbq.com.